you are ranking number one for search engine optimization for bankruptcy lawyers, for SEO for bankruptcy lawyers, for SEO estate planning lawyer, for commerce lawyer SEO, and actually during the December update, you or your agency just spiked up in organic traffic and rankings. Um,
Yes.
and Yeah, actually, I don't think I've done any SEO for law firm videos or podcasts, and it's something that has been requested. So I'm very excited to do this episode. Thank you for coming on the show, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you called out all the efforts we've been putting in the last couple months.
Can you share your background? You do SEO
Yeah.
for lawyers.
Yeah. So Matador is a hybrid agency meets think tank for lawyers. And to understand what we do, I got to take you back to when I was 12 years old, right? So I'm 29 now. I'm a lawyer myself. But when I was 12, I had started helping my mom and dad do SEO for their personal injury law firm in Washington, D.C. Personal injury law is one of the most competitive industries in the country, in the world, outside of maybe like competing with Amazon on e-commerce or something like that. And so I had started helping them and at the same time doing some of my own sites, and we got really good at it. My dad and I were doing it together. And then about a decade ago, people said, hey, can you guys help me? And we started helping a couple of firms under the lens of their law firm. And it just got too crazy to manage, right? You can't really manage 5 sites if you're also running a law firm. And so we founded Matador as a spin out and result of that. And if you fast forward to today, one half of Matador is like this SEO agency. We have over 175 law firm clients. We call them members that we work with. The other aspect of Matador is because I'm a lawyer, I have a law firm, my dad's a lawyer, we have so much ingrained knowledge about how to operate a law firm. We're doing all this sharing of information. So for example, if one of our SEO co-op members has a case referral and they're in North Carolina and they need a lawyer in Texas, I can facilitate that referral for them and help introduce them. I do a lot of discounting and figuring out, for example, who's the best 24/7 phone answering provider, and I'll test them and then go to them and say, hey, give me a discount because I have. So we're doing all this sort of like operations level stuff to help these law firms succeed.
What makes, from an SEO perspective, what makes law firms fundamentally different from other local or lead gen industries?
I think it's a function, and you have to sort of think about it by practice area. Like if you do estate planning, for example, you don't need to do that much to be king of your hill. It's not that hard. You just need to have solid content, a decent website, not a heroic website, and decent linking if you're in estate planning, right? But let's say you're going to personal injury law. You're talking about domain ratings in the most competitive markets that are in the 40s on the low end, right? Up to the 60s. And that is simply a function of the financial upside, for example, for a personal injury law dictates that people are willing to spend so much money to be at the very top of Google, AI, all that sort of stuff. And so it's competitive because there's financial upside, right? And the value of one case for a personal injury lawyer can be so gigantic that they're willing to spend to compete for that position. And so it's just an ever building sort of cycle.
Is it just competition, or are there SEO things to keep in mind that makes legal SEO different from doing SEO for other niches?
Yeah, I mean, legal is a YMYL issue, right? So it's your money, your life. So you have to show your expertise in your writing. And so there's a different threshold. So one of the reasons it's more challenging is back in the day, right? We could just chuck up 1,000 words about car accident lawyer San Diego and you're there and, great. Today, part of the reason it's so challenging is because the content is so deep that we write for the most competitive keywords. And maybe we should talk a little bit about like competitive versus non-competitive keywords later, because PI, lawyer SEO is so interesting in that way. But like in today's world, the way we write a page of content, say for car accident lawyer San Diego, it's not 1,000 words. It's actually, in most cases, 3,000 to 4,000 words with 15 images and infographic, link to local resources, citing California statutes, all of that to actually make a quality piece of content. And so there's a lot of quality QA that has to go into that. And then of course we have, technical, which I don't know if we'll get into, and then linking.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious. I'm curious what happened with your agency with Matador in December, and how you got just this. I mean, this crazy spike upwards, basically from December 2nd to now.
Yeah. So here's what happened. We, for years, have been the cobbler's son who wears no shoes. And I said, we never invested in our own SEO, ever. We were too busy doing lawyer SEO. And so as sort of almost a passion project of mine, just late at night, I would just look at pages and I would just rewrite the page and I'd chuck it up and it would just pop and it would pop and it would pop. And so I just went by every practice area and wrote the page, right? And these are not, I have to spill the beans here a little bit. These pages are not incredible. I mean, they're lacking multimedia. They have a table of contents. They load okay. But because we had such a strong site, I was like, I think I could take a stab at this with low effort and do it. And so I was basically like, I'm going to just write a page for every practice area: bankruptcy, estate planning, divorce lawyer. And now if you look at them, I'm writing, we have divorce lawyer SEO, page 1, bankruptcy lawyer, page 1, injury lawyer SEO, we're page 1. And it just went on and on and on. And certain pages like injury lawyer SEO, which is crazy competitive, that I've put a ton of work in on, right? I'm updating it once a week. I'm adding images. I'm adding specific testimonials. But again, when you look at the low-hanging fruit pages, I just put it up and just said, okay, great.
This method of marketing is so effective, I had to make sure it wasn't against Google's rules before I kept doing it. It's a form of SEO I call compact keywords. Whereas most SEO focuses on putting up articles to answer questions how, what, when, compact keywords focuses on putting up dozens of pages that sell to searchers who are actually looking to buy. These pages rank on Google and convert so much better than normal that when I discovered this years ago, I couldn't believe this was allowed. It's less work too. The average compact keywords page is only 415 words. Compact Keywords is a 13-hour deep course on getting sales with SEO. A customer recently said, "Each lesson is dense with information. You're giving years worth of experience boiled down into 15 to 30-minute lessons with no filler or fluff. I feel like I'm gaining a new superpower." Compact Keywords is about setting up an SEO funnel that brings you sales for years and years and years. It works with AI, it's less work than traditional SEO, and it makes way more money. You can get it now at compactkeywords.com. Back to the podcast. And yeah. He said, wait, what is the domain authority for Matador? It's 19. It's only 19. That's crazy. And search engine optimization for bankruptcy lawyers has a ton of search volume.
Yeah.
Oh man. So what
do you see us as a 19 on? Are you looking at Ahrefs?
I'm looking at Moz. I'm looking at Moz 19 out of 100 domain authority.
Yeah,
Matador Solutions.net. These
tools score us very differently because we're a 30 on SEMrush and a 65 on Ahrefs.
Oh,
so
really?
It's just a huge gamut.
How old is Matador Solutions.net?
Decade.
Oh wow. Okay. So yeah, asking if you've been building backlinks to it is kind of irrelevant when you've been in business for that long. You just naturally acquired a lot of links.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Yeah. And so you basically just found these keywords and put up these pages and targeted them properly, and that was it?
For those pages, yeah. And I didn't even have to. I knew innately what the keywords were, so I didn't really care whether it was lawyer SEO company for estate planning or estate planning. I knew I was going to get it all on one page anyway. And so, yeah. And then if you look at the personal injury lawyer SEO page, that one didn't rank. And so really at first, I worked on that page for like 4 or 5 months. And I was the one personally doing this actually, just as like a fun, we have, over 40 employees and I was just doing this for fun. But that one I was messing around with images, specific testimonials, looking in video testimonials, building out guides to support that page, all that sort of stuff. But the other pages, yeah, just won really easily.
Wait, you said the personal injury one didn't rank at first?
Yeah.
That's really so. That's a really common issue that any SEO faces, where they put up a page and it's not ranking. And
Mhm.
so, how did you? Yeah, so you made those improvements, and then you just kept resubmitting to Google Search Console, and then like how long did it take for things to change?
That page took about 3 months to change. So I wrote the page, it didn't move at all. And then I wrote a supporting guide to that page, right, to see if it would boost the page I cared about. And it moved up a couple of positions. And then the next week I went in and I added a bunch of multimedia. So I added images in there, I added video testimonials into the page, really all about deep PI experience, right? That we had, right? I'm a PI lawyer, my family does PI. We talked about the founding of it. We updated the content. And then, yeah, we told Google we updated the content, right? We repinged it. And about 3 weeks ago, it popped.
Wow. And so wait, you said the you made a guide. I think that's what you said. Was that was a separate page or post?
Yeah. Separate page, ultimate guide to personal injury lawyer SEO and sort
Okay,
of,
so that boosted your topical authority, and then you also
yeah.
internal linked to this page.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's awesome. And the information architecture is it's interesting that you put everything directly off the root domain. I don't know if that was conscious or like if that was some SEOs love to do that, other SEOs hate that.
Yeah. I think it doesn't matter, in my opinion. I think based on what I see, um, both on the actual law firm side and in Matador, there are fantastic SEO companies out there who would do everything one off the root domain, right? So you'll do Beverly Hills car accident lawyer. And then there's other fantastic SEO companies who will do Beverly Hills slash personal injury lawyer slash car. I think it's so low on the totem pole of issues to ranking well that it would be a waste of time to even talk about, in my humble opinion.
Um, so okay, let me ask you this:
Yeah.
how do how do small firms realistically compete with big national legal brands who are dominating the SERPs?
I think Google is so local that it's the one thing that they can compete on, um, based on what we see. So the average law firm at Matador is 1 to 15 lawyers. That's kind of our client pool, right? And there are massive lawyers. And what I've seen happen over the last couple of years is, you're probably familiar with Morgan and Morgan, the massive, biggest plaintiffs law firm in the U.S.
Heard of
And
it?
yeah, so they are gigantic lawyers. 5 years ago, their SEO was incredible, like truly beautiful. I have to say, it was beautiful SEO. The topical authority was there. The internal linking was perfect. The site was strong, and they would win a lot of markets. And then what we saw happen is Google became hyper local, meaning we had people, let's say you were in Arlington, Virginia, and you had a domain rating of a 10 or a 12. You were beating out all of a sudden Morgan and Morgan's 15 because you were in Virginia, you went to school in Virginia, you do all the cases in Virginia, your case results were in Virginia, and everything you did, your main location was Virginia. You just started to beat them out. And so when you talk about smaller firms beating out bigger ones, SEO is actually the only channel where spend is not the main denominator or not the main lever, right? You can't spend nothing, but it's irrelevant whether you're spending 30,000 a month or 5,000 a month to competing in a market, in a specific market, as opposed to LSAs, which I have a whole rant about LSAs, but that's really a function of spend. Pay per click is a function of spend. You can't scale it necessarily without scaling spend.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, you're saying that the algorithm became a lot more local. It's like that. It's interesting because when you described as Morgan and Morgan, and you said they had amazing topical authority, but then they got hit. That made me wonder if their topical authority was actually that all that great. Because maybe they had like topical authority for different areas, for a few small areas, a few small pockets,
Yeah.
but maybe it wasn't like the same thing happened to HubSpot. A
Yeah.
couple of years ago, HubSpot was ranking for everything. I don't know if you saw what happened to them, and
Yep.
yeah, and because their topical authority was, they were ranking for lots of keywords outside of their topical authority,
Yes.
and Google became a lot more focused recently on topical authority, and I think it will become this year become even more focused on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too. And I think with Morgan and Morgan, it was, and this is anecdotal, right? I haven't been tracking it, but I see it because we compete against them in a lot of markets, and they just, I mean, they could have been doing programmatic or something like that. I don't actually know. And what's interesting about law firms is when you talk about, I'll do a lot of consultations and someone will write a blog about the legal impact of when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars. Like, let's just say you wrote that blog and it gets a ton of traffic, but it doesn't generate business because it's so irrelevant. And so a lot of my focus is on it's so interesting if I can rant on this for a second because it's so unique about legal SEO is if you think of a root keyword, let's just ignore any geographic modifier that we may put onto it to target near me searches. If you take a personal injury lawyer and they only have about 15 root keywords that matter. That's it. You'll have personal injury, car accident, slip and fall, dog bite, truck accident, brain injury. That's it. And so each of those is so important, but you have to then have your modifiers. And so I figured out that essentially to get real ROI on internet marketing for law firms, you have to be hitting a minimum population of 250,000. But you have to have so much content around to support that one keyword. And if you said to me, Nick, like I'm in Los Angeles, right? If you said to me, Nick, you have two choices. You can either have personal injury lawyer Los Angeles, right? But you'll never have another keyword again. You'll never have anything else on page one. Or you can have every other keyword that you want, but you won't have personal injury lawyer Los Angeles. I would take the personal injury lawyer Los Angeles. And I think that's something that I see a lot of SEOs when people come over to, when clients come over to us, they're ranking for like all these really low volume, low value keywords. And it's just, anyway, that's my rant, but I think it's worth saying.
What you're so actually, excuse me, that's another question that I had, which is like, how do you prioritize practice area pages or informational content first? And like the practice area pages, they're going to be like way less volume, but they're going to be way higher intent.
Yeah. So on a law firm website, you basically have two types of content, essentially, right? So you'll have your standard content, home, about, team, case results, that kind of stuff. That's standard. You then have two types of content otherwise, more or less. You have your practice area pages, which is car accident lawyer San Diego, right? And that one page will hit obviously every variation, attorney, law firm, all that sort of stuff. You have that one page, and then you'll have blog pages, essentially, right? And those blog pages, the concept is they'll serve as a resources tab that we can use heavy internal linking. They build your authority, they show your knowledge. Those blogs generate almost zero ROI, right? They may generate traffic, but no ROI. And so what we're looking at is essentially saying, I have the search volume for every root keyword, right? So we know the exact search volume of car accident lawyer and its variations and slip and fall lawyer. And we'll say like, okay, we know car accident is the most competitive, but we know dog bite has pretty good cases in your market because there's strict liability or no strict liability. And so the way I think about keywords is typically geo-based. So we'll say, hey, we're gonna target your main geo first, right? Let's say you're gonna go after San Diego first, right? And that's the first thing we're gonna do. And then we're gonna kind of draw a little circle and go a couple miles out. And then we're gonna go to Encinitas, right? And then we're gonna go to Carlsbad. And then we're gonna go like that as your site gets stronger. But when you think about keywords, it's a balancing act of saying, I want these high value, high volume, right? Like a car accident is the most high value, high volume. It's why you see all these TV ads, all these billboards, accident, call 123 help, right? And then you take a truck accident keyword, which is typically easier to rank than car accident. You may get one of those types of accidents every year, but that will make your year. So that's how I think about it.
So it's more so you're looking at you're looking at the value that the keyword is going to bring. And even if there's like something that it's not going to have a lot of search volume, it, but you're going to actually get like a few clients a year from it, like a handful.
Yeah.
That's extremely worth it to you.
Yes. And typically those types of cases are really easy to rank, actually.
Yes. Yes.
So I have a client and we wrote like a grocery store slip and fall page, right? Not super high volume, super easy to rank, wrote it one time, don't really have to work on it for a while after that. And he gets, a couple cases a year on it. Whereas the car accident page, which is so hard, right? That actual page may take 20 supporting pages to do that, right? And so we'll build out granular content to support that page, which I can talk about that strategy that we've used that's been successful too.
Yeah, please, please.
So this is a strategy that has been super successful. Like we have a client in Chicago and he ranks number 2 for Chicago car accident lawyer, which is insane. And so what we did to build this up is we're really focusing on topical authority within that Chicago car accident lawyer page itself. So you'll have, right, URL/Chicago car accident lawyer. Within that page, so one off Chicago car accident lawyer, we're building out specific pages for every other type of car accident that may come. So you go Chicago car accident lawyer / hit and run, right? New page. Rear end accident, new page. Left turn accident, rear end, / new page. T-bone accident. And so we're building out massive topical authority actually off that specific page, right? Because sometimes that's what it takes in a market. Do I think anybody goes to that T-bone accident page? Not really, no. But
That's cool. So this is a pillar page.
It essentially will serve as a pillar page, yeah.
I had a few weeks ago, I had on basically like the top mattress affiliate on the show. The top like SEO mattress affiliate, and actually like the mattress review space is very competitive with SEO.
Yes.
And so he is trying to rank for like he's close to ranking one, I think, for something like best mattress, just plain best mattress. But if I remember correctly, his page to rank for best mattress is a pillar page with all types of like different variations, exactly like you described. So when you go into one of these pages that's on this, you said it was car accident?
Yeah.
Chicago car accident. So when you go onto one of these pages within the pillar page, what do these pages actually look like? How long are they? Are they extremely deep? Like, what are the pictures like? How are you structuring these pages?
So what I'll typically do is write it in a way that is 1,000 words. They're not crazy deep. We'll have a couple of images, and we try to provide some information. They're not insanely in-depth guides. Sometimes they will be. We'll also build out like
Are they conversion? Sorry for interrupting. Are they conversion focused or are they like informational focused?
Information, all information.
Interesting.
When I study law firm conversion, it's kind of, I'll look a lot at, because we have old and ugly sites and we have new and modern sites that we work with, right? Because sometimes someone will bring a website into us and we're like, okay, technically it's sound. And so when we talk about law firm conversion on site, I find that there is almost no difference between whether your colors are red, green, blue, black, or yellow. When we talk about conversion, what matters is much more so. Do you have a big phone number? Do you have a contact form? Do you have a picture of the lawyers that they're going to call? Do you have video testimonials? Do you have testimonials present? So conversion is a different thing in the law firm space.
Yeah, it's the copy. It's like something that I see a lot is, and maybe you see this too, is people are targeting, I guess, purchase intent keywords, bottom of funnel keywords where the searchers, they know what they want, and they are looking for in your case for a practice to go with. They know what they're looking for. And so they don't need to be educated about it anymore. They already know what they're looking for. They just need to be told why this firm is the best for them.
Yeah.
And it's like they get to the page and they want to hear, we provide exactly like the firm says, we provide exactly what you are looking for, and this is why you should go with us.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, it's way more so like copy focused.
I would also add to that that most of the time, if you're calling a lawyer, there's some bad shit going on in your life. Pardon my French. I don't know if I can curse on this podcast,
You can
but
curse. You can
um,
curse.
if you need a lawyer, something bad has happened to you in the most times, right? You're getting divorced, you've been injured in an accident, you're going bankrupt, right? And so you have to make sure you're communicating what you're all about as a firm quickly, right? And so that's why you have a picture of the lawyer right away, right? And it's why you want to have video testimonials and why you want to be really clear about what you're about on the website.
Yeah, let's talk about building trust, which is extremely, like you said, this is a YMYL niche. So yeah, how do you build trust to like, it's not enough to just rank. You want to rank and convert.
Yeah.
And honestly, having a page that converts also helps with rankings because there's way less pogo sticking, and you're getting lots of other positive signals. People share the pages more. So yeah, what are you doing to build trust?
I think do you want me to talk about trust with Google or do you want me to talk about trust with the potential client hitting the website?
I think it's interesting. I think first talk about how it's different, and then both. Oh, yeah, how it's different, and then start with the people hitting the website, and then trust with Google.
Trust with Google, we want to show Google right. We're legitimate, put us up there. That's what we're doing there. Trust with consumers is to say, we're legitimate, call us. And there's a couple different ways you can build trust to somebody who hits the website. The first thing is obviously the site has to load quickly, right? They have to hit it first. It has to be formatted properly, right? That's like must do's. What we'll put on every site, which I was just saying, is picture of the lawyer. Video testimonials are so massive in this space that I'll offer to edit to clients. Like I'll offer to edit your testimonials for free. Just shoot it on an iPhone. I'll deal with it for you because it's that important. We put that on every single page of a website. Showing your Google reviews, extremely important. Pictures we talked about, videos of you. And this isn't so much about formatting, it's just saying this is who we are. Some people have certain things they can trade on. Like my law firm, we have a ton of press, right? And so we trade heavily on the press because we can build so much trust with that, right? We've been in, my law partner's been in ABC, NBC, CBS, Today Show, all these. And so building trust is just about what do you have on the site to show you're different. When we talk about Google and building trust, it's best to sort of, I think an example is actually a better way to do this. And so you take two clients, and this is a real story. You take two clients in Florida, right, that we had. And they came into Matador with kind of similar domain ratings and similar strengths in the 20s. And client A was not present online at all besides his website. Client B was doing everything. They were spending on ads. They had an active social media. The founder was active on LinkedIn. Their website was average. It was in the 20s. It was not great. Client B ranks much, much faster with the exact same work by Matador, right? Which is very interesting. Not the exact same, but roughly the same systems, right? You write the same quality of content, you use the same information, but because client B is so much more active overall, right? Not just on your website, but across the internet, they get more, right? They rank faster. And I think building trust with Google is about so much more than what you do on your website, right? You can't do nothing. You have to have really good content. Your site has to load fast. You have to build stuff, but build backlinks. But what you're doing outside of that actually has a big impact. That's what we see.
It's about links. It's about brand mentions. It's about the language around your links.
Yes.
It's branded searches are people, and actually I was seeing that people are searching your brand too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about click through rate, 100, and it's links across, like a mistake that lots of people make is they're trying to optimize for only high domain authority links rather than having a natural backlink profile, or only do follow links and zero no follow links and all sorts of things. How are you approaching link building and citations for law firms?
So I may get in trouble for saying this, but
That's the best way to start an answer.
link building there's a lot of third-party directories out there that you can build strong links from. Um, Fine Lodge, STS, Super Lawyers, all that sort of stuff. And the links are great. The links are strong. Whether they're follow or no follow, it doesn't really matter to me in this instance. They're really expensive and they rip a lot of lawyers off with the pricing. They'll charge $2,000 to $3,000 a year just for a listing, right? And that's just one. And so, we'll go and we'll communicate with these, with third-party companies and say, hey, we want to do a bulk rate to get a directory listing, right? Because we have 175 clients. Can you give us a rate? We'll do that sort of stuff. So that's a big way we'll build links. We'll do some earned media stuff that we've been rolling out. So we have an immigration lawyer we work with in Oklahoma City, and we're doing earned media for him, right? Where we're actually getting him quotes in articles, and that's all like based on Harrow and that help a reporter out and that kind of stuff. And that's a ton of work, but the links are insane, right? Because he's actually giving the quote and they're linking to him. It's not just like a old school link insertion or something. And so we do a lot of that sort of stuff. We will instruct clients to go hyper local with their links. And what I tell people is I'd rather you have a link from, I'd rather you have a link from your local school that's a 20 DR from some irrelevant thing that is a 50 because it's so local to you, right? I'd rather you have local. And so they'll go to their local chamber of commerce. If there's sponsorship opportunities to sponsor a little league sports team, we have them do that kind of stuff. I listened to your thing on press releases. We definitely do them. Scholarships are valuable, even though they said they were devalued, but they're valuable still, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then so you're getting these local links. So when you want to expand practice area pages, how are you doing that to have like topical authority in the new areas?
Yeah. So let's say you have a client in San Diego, right? And and I'm going to just keep going back to San Diego, but let's say you have a client in San Diego and the main office is in San Diego and all the content's around San Diego. And then we say, okay, like we're going to go after Calabasas, and Carlsbad. And Carlsbad is 10 miles away and the population is 60,000. So we think like we've got a pretty good shot of winning it. It's not that competitive, right? So now we're going to take all our root keywords and we're going to go after, geo-modify them essentially, right? And put together a new keyword, which is car accident lawyer, Carlsbad, whatever we're going to do. We'll then build out the main pillar personal injury page, right? And we'll build out this big, beautiful page, like 3,000 words, right? We'll have a types of section. That types of personal injury will all link out to car accident, to slip and fall, truck accident, dog bite, etc., right? We'll roll all that content out. We'll push it, right? And typically we'll push it without images. We'll just push text at first, right? Make sure it all gets picked up by Google, evaluated 3 to 4 weeks later. How did we move? If something moved and we won it quickly, I'm not actually going to touch it again for a while. I'm going to let it sit and see what happens with it because of, depending on the plan that clients are on, right? We can't hit everything all the time. And so if something moved without images or anything else, that's great. I look at content as a rolling thing. Like let's take that car accident page, right? So maybe in month 1, we're writing like general car accident content, right? And then in month 2, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do research and we're going to write a piece on most dangerous intersections for car accidents in Carlsbad. In month 3, we're then going to go and we're going to write important local resources for car accidents in Carlsbad. And in month 4, then we're going to go write research and find statistics for car accident in Carlsbad. And we're going to link out and have all of that really good stuff. And then in month 5, we're going to go in and we're going to make sure we have all the images. We're going to add an infographic and we're just constantly updating that page because it's so important. But it's very page by page dependent, right? Because if I win it quickly, I don't want to work on it anymore, right? I'm just going to leave it until, I'll ping it again in 6 months and make an update. But this rolling content strategy has been very effective for us.
Getting this sense, and I'd like you to talk about this more, that so, informational content, it doesn't convert the best. Bottom of funnel content really converts the best, but you are using informational content to heavily support the purchase intent content.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, yeah, can you talk about like your exact strategy with that?
The informational piece.
How the informational content supports the purchase intent content.
Yeah, my position is purchase intent content is irrelevant for law firm marketing. It really is. And the way that we've seen you show up on Google, right, because of everything else that we talked about, big phone number, picture, everything else.
But a lot of the keywords that you told me are purchase intent keywords.
They're purchase intent in that they're low funnel, right? So they're bottom of funnel, but
all right, personal injury lawyer NYC.
yeah.
Is that information like how do you evaluate that keyword?
It's purchase intent. We rank it through informational content. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but I'd like to hear that explanation.
Yeah. So we have found that the way you rank these purchase intent keywords is massive amounts of information and showing that you are the expert in the field, right? And so when you talk about this, you'll have sort of a multi-step process that we'll use to tell Google, hey, we know everything about personal injury law in New York City. We are the people that do this, right? And so you'll sort of think about it like, first piece of this page of content is going to be, why are we the best, right? And we're the best knowledge source for this because we have these case results. We went to this school and we've been doing it this long. That's all your EAT stuff, right? It's all your EAT info. Then we start into there. And then we'll go into all the knowledge we have about personal injury in NYC. So we'll talk about why NYC is so ridden with personal injuries, how many people are injured, and we'll actually try to develop ourselves as the knowledge source. And that's been the method that when we become the knowledge source, even if we're aggregating data, which we're doing a lot, right? Even though we're saying, here's your local resources, right? If you're a dog bite, you're linking to a vet, right? Or a hospital or whatever you're doing. If you're and on and on. And so we try to become the knowledge source. And what we found is that becoming the main source of knowledge, even if it's aggregating the information, ranks us.
It's interesting, and thinking about it from a search perspective, like you said, when someone is searching a legal keyword, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
And so even actually searching something that is very informational, they might actually be almost cash in hand. And so as you're giving them the informational content, you're sprinkling in, why we are the best to go with for something like this.
That's a really good point. Exactly. Because within the content, we'll include a video. Within the actual content, we'll include a video testimonial or a call out box or whatever we're doing. So it's not just like, here's the statute of limitations and here's everywhere to call, right? It's more conversion focused in the copy. Maybe I didn't explain that earlier, but yeah, like at the end of every section, it says, if you need help, call us now, right? Here's why, that kind of stuff.
I have two questions. One is more technical. I'm curious how you host your video testimonials if you're just using YouTube. And then two, are there call to actions within law that perform better than other call to actions? Like request a free consultation, things like that.
Right now, we mostly will do YouTube, sometimes Vimeo for embeds. It's not perfect, but it's the simplest in most cases.
And actually, I mean, YouTube, are you putting keywords into the testimonials? Yeah, because testimonials rank really well with YouTube.
It's so funny that you say this because lately I've been seeing this more and more where someone will put in Boston car accident lawyer testimonial, and then that page will rank for Boston car accident lawyer. It'll rank in the SERPs. So I've been seeing that, and it's funny.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
It's real. It's real. It
Yeah,
works.
it does. It does.
Facebook too. You can put your testimony. You can embed. I think you could probably embed a Facebook page post too. But you can do the same thing if you take. I've for my SEO course, I put up like compact keywords review or testimonial or something on my Facebook page. That was ranking
Yeah.
high for compact keywords review.
Yeah. Yep. It's funny because it's kind of like, I mean, I get it with Google and YouTube why it does it. But yeah, we use YouTube, sometimes Vimeo.
People, I mean, just searchers want their answers fast and in an engaging way, and that's what video offers.
Yeah. To answer your question about call to action, um, request a free consult. It's really good. Free consultation. The big thing for us is 24/7 phone answering. That's huge in legal. If you're a personal injury lawyer, I won't even work with you now unless you have 24/7. It's just so competitive, right? And that's really big for us. Always available. Call us whenever. If you're a divorce lawyer, there's a good reason that you won't want the clients that call you at 8 o'clock at night. But if you're a personal injury lawyer, you have to be on the phones all the time.
Do you have recommendations for agencies that can help with that?
Do. Over the years, I've used a great many of them. And every time a new one comes out, part of Matador's responsibility is to go to these companies and vet them, right? And say, hey, we have 175 plus law firms. We're adding a bunch every month. Can we try your product out? And if we like it, I'll introduce it to our people on our list of partners and discounts. But you have to give me a really good price that most people can't get because I have 175 firms. I have buying power, right? And that's the mindset of what we do. But there's a lot of, we use Smith AI very heavily. They're actually, we're not AI until recently. Some people will use Lex Reception. There's Ruby. One of the things generally with phone answering companies that I've seen over the last couple of years is that a lot of the time they're really good when they're small and then they get bigger and the quality will go down sometimes. I think this is all going to shift anyway with AI, right? I think we're going to see a massive shift. There's a couple AI phone answering companies coming out. I don't think they're quite good enough yet, but I think in 18 months, we're not going to even, I think AI is going to be so good at answering the phone and sound so human that it's going to be a replacement more affordably for a lot of people.
Yeah, actually, so I wanted to ask you about AI, and how are you using it? Are you using it? To what extent? Are you
Yeah,
using it within like legal SEO, and are there risks of misinformation and compliance with it?
massive misinformation risks, massive, massive, massive. Cannot understate the risks in legal. Um, we use AI at the same time we use AI heavily with vetting, right? Because it's much faster for me to go into ChatGPT and say, give me the car accident statistics in Birmingham, Alabama for the last 5 years and make a chart of it and then cite me all your sources, right? Because that could take 5 minutes and then go spend another 5 minutes and verify them. But we will use AI for sure, especially if I'm writing a page that's like so low volume and low intent, but if or in high intent, like if I'm writing like, I don't know, some super niche keyword, right? Like Abbott Kinney slip and fall lawyer that maybe I'll get one if I'm lucky. We'll use AI. Yeah, we use it really heavily because there's a lot of research that has to go into our writing, whether we're looking up statutes or local resources. Those have to be accurate, and the ramifications of a mistake are massive. And so we'll go through QA processes, human QA processes for everybody. We use AI in the writing. Our call answering provider is CallRail. So one of the things that Matador does is we'll actually prepare a list of every single call that we generated in every single contact form and every single intake. And so how we'll use that is CallRail has an AI feature, right? We'll just export it. We'll go through it every single month with a client and click sign, didn't sign, rejected, lost, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the ethical issues are, I know them uniquely because I'm a lawyer, but they are gigantic. So
How are you making your content? It's all, yeah. I'm curious. Like, How are you hiring writers? Like, how are you doing
Mhm.
everything with the content?
Yeah, so we have about 25 writers. And for many, many, many years, everything was just handwritten.
Can you talk?
Um,
I don't know if you can talk about like the secret sauce. Like, are they in the United States?
they are.
Are there and so there are they lawyers themselves? Uh, yeah, all that stuff. Maybe you have like a system for like someone like I don't know, a paralegal will write it, and then like an actual lawyer will review it. You know.
Yeah. I've made the lawyer review option available to people, but it's, 4 times the price because we just, I have to pay the lawyer, right? But I've invested heavily in training and verification methods. So we about 25 writers, right? Um, let's say we'll write, and I should mention, we're testing a lot of different content types right now. Like we're testing out, does it make sense to write a 1,000 word piece of content and over 6 months make that 4,000 words?
Oh
Or
wow.
can I, yeah, over 6 months, or can I condense that, use AI to write 3,500 words, 4,000 words in an hour and a half after verification and everything else? And can I rank the same page? And so we're doing a lot of this testing.
What are you seeing
Um,
so far with that?
it's pretty shocking. We had a car accident lawyer in New Orleans, and we had done the page right over 6 months, and the content was B plus content, but the site was super strong. And it was just sort of stuck. It was just stuck at position 10 and position 11. It was just stuck there. It couldn't get it. And so I just said, let's just rewrite the whole thing with AI, right? And let's use this new method I know it takes 90 minutes to write a really good page of content with AI. And I want to put everything in there in one go. So we're going to just throw the kitchen sink at this because I've been working on it for 9 months. It's not working. Firm does great. They love us, but like it wasn't working. So we rewrite the whole thing with AI. We re-verify it. We put all our images in. We put the infographics in. We put the videos in. I changed the title tag and ping Google. 4 days later, it's in position 4. So I did the same thing in
You said you
Georgia.
changed the title tag
Yeah.
to how much did you change it?
Um, so one of the things we've been testing lately is having the name versus some call to action in your title tag. So we changed it from like New Orleans car accident lawyer dash the law firm name to New Orleans car accident lawyer dash 24/7 free consultation.
Wait, so you
And
changed the URL slug too
no,
when you okay, so the URL slug stayed the same, but you basically put in a call to action or a benefit that you get from clicking on the page in. Oh, that's huge because that differentiates your page.
I know it's been huge. And when like this page looks great because we were able to get product schema in there and have the reviews showing, which who knows what it does for SEO, but I think it's great for conversion. And um, I tested
So
this same,
the SERP looks really good.
yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And I did this same thing the second time I tested this. The problem is it's not an isolated test is the thing because I'm pulling so many variables at one
Yeah.
time.
I mean, because a page title is like the ultimate is one of the ultimate signals.
Yeah.
It's like saying, yeah, we changed the content on the page, but at the same time, we got a backlink.
I know. I know. So it's not perfect. And I have to sort of accept that because I care about results and I care about the phone rings. And so I realize I may be sacrificing a little
But
data integrity.
either way, you got the results. You went from
Exactly.
number 10 to number 4.
And I did the same thing in Marietta, Georgia, and had a client there. They're floating on position 10 to position 15. In that case, we had like a lot to do, right? We had 2 pages. We had Marietta car wreck lawyer and we had Marietta car accident lawyer. So I had to prune one. We rewrote the other one, a car accident lawyer page, because car wreck and car accident really should be the same page. There's no reason for 2 pages. So we did that. I tested the new AI content process. It takes, after verification and everything else, it's about 90 minutes to write the page because this could be a whole separate call on our content prompting system, but because it's multi prompt and all that sort of stuff. Um, rewrote the page, added the images, added the infographic, added the video, added incredible internal linking, right? So how we write it is we'll upload the sitemap, we'll upload the Google reviews, we'll upload the case results. We put all this massive information into the
Are you
AI
using a
system.
project? Are you using a project or like yeah? Are you doing it just in one chat? Like, how are you doing it?
So how I do it is I've had trouble with the project. And so what we'll do is basically create a separate Google Doc that has multi-tabs, right? So we'll have a sitemap in one tab. We'll have all the Google reviews in another tab. We'll have their case results in another tab. And we'll have all the EAT information. Where you went to school, what are you about? And we have all this in one knowledge base, essentially. When we go to write the content, we have basically a 4-step prompt that requires the AI to integrate this stuff, and then we'll do verification checklists and then personal review. But having this Google Sheet has been transformative for how we use AI content because
So you're
it
using well, actually, I'm also
yeah.
curious. How long did it take you to come up with your prompt? Probably a lot of refining.
Oh man, um, we must have spent like 300 hours on
Wow,
this, on doing it
wow, on this
perfectly.
prompt. And that's a that's a frustrating thing too, is because like models change and now you have to change the prompt and
Mhm.
oh, it was just so perfect before.
Yeah. My brother is an AI engineer, and he runs a company called, he went to Berkeley, he's AI engineer. He runs a company called Main Touch, which went through Y Combinator. They do a lot of AI SEO stuff. And so I had a lot of help with it from him. But it was 300 hours, and a lot of it was my personal time, in addition to people I was paying and that kind of stuff, and my team.
Is the prompt really long?
Yeah. Not all, not actually, that's not true. Not every phase. The third prompt is really long. The first two prompts are not super
Okay,
long,
so it's
and
a
I have
yeah, multi-step.
multi-step prompt. I have not had success condensing it, and I don't really care. I'm much less focused on cost to produce content as I am of quality of content. So even if I'm able to, it's actually not much cheaper for us to produce a really good piece of content than it was before, but the speed of it and the quality of it are so much greater now.
And then so you're reviewing someone is reviewing, like an actual lawyer is reviewing the final pieces, or no?
No, we have a heavily trained editor who knows
Okay.
everything to look for, right? You don't really need a lawyer to review it, as long as you can say, like, okay, we wrote about this statute, right? Like, let's say we wrote about the statute of limitations in North Carolina for government claims, for example. If we cite it, they have to go verify it personally, right? And so they'll have a checklist they verify.
The human will.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how you're balancing for the risk of hallucinations, misinformation, compliance.
Yeah.
Are there other compliance issues in terms of doing search engine optimization for lawyers?
Yeah. Major ones. So you have, like, you can't miscite a case, you can't hallucinate a case. There's also advertising issues. You can't say you're the best lawyer, right? You can't say that in most states. And so you have to be very smart with how you message. Um, and sometimes I'll even get a request from a client to say, hey, I want to put this on your site. And my dev team will be like, hey, they want to put this on the site. Can you look at it, Nick? And I'll do it, and I'll be like, hey, like, don't do this. You're going to get in trouble. And there's a lot of that out there. Most of the ethics rules are around marketing for that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Messaging.
that's actually another question that I had, which is like, what are common SEO mistakes that you see agencies make when they apply generic local SEO playbooks to law firms?
And we haven't even talked about the map listing piece yet, right? And
No, not not even. Yeah.
we haven't even gotten into there yet. Um, Most of the big issues I see are content is way too thin. They're not targeting enough population. You can't get enough business in a 60,000 population. It can't happen. The threshold where you start to make real ROI on the internet, I found, is about 250,000 people. That's the second issue. A lot of times we'll see some duplicate page issues, right? You may have two pages that are actually the exact same. Um, Obviously, the technical SEO is like basic stuff. You just and technical SEO is very easy to fix. You can run an audit and fix it, and then you run it again. And unless you're on some weird WordPress builder where we can't optimize the speed and we have to redo your site or something, that's pretty fixable. A lot of people are deficient in it, surprisingly, but it's still fixable. And then you have to generate backlinks. And so if you as an agency don't have resources to help your clients with that, to facilitate that, clients will never do it, right? And in certain markets, you can rank without backlinks. In most markets, you can't.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing about backlinks is if you're doing like natural marketing, then you also might acquire, you might acquire, if you're doing good marketing, excuse me, you might acquire many natural backlinks.
Yes, which are always the best,
They
right?
are the
They're
best.
the best.
They bring actual referral traffic.
Yeah. Natural backlinks, if you can get them, are like this earned, even this earned media, which is, it's not paying, that's not paying for anything. Those are earned, but they're incredible links when you
You
get
have
them.
earned media playbooks that you really like.
So labor intensive that not really, because we'll get it. What we'll do is we'll get something in, right? And our PR person will say, hey, this is great for Jimmy Lai, who's a lawyer client who does immigration and he's an immigrant and this is great for him to talk about, right? Because it's talking about this, or hey, this is divorce law, right? Let me send this to another client and see if we can get it. So it's super manual right now. It's also not part of our core business. We sort of do it because we just do it. It's not a core business of ours at all.
All right, Google Business Profiles. So is there anything different about optimizing Google Business Profiles for lawyers versus other local businesses?
Yeah. Um, so little background, we have clients in the most competitive markets in the country, right? Raleigh, North Carolina, Washington, D.C., LA, Tampa, New York, on and on and on. There's a bunch of basics you have to do, but there's no substitute for review generation. It doesn't exist. You want to build out your products, right? So we'll build out products, we'll link those to the proper page within the site. We'll focus heavily on review generation. Updates are extremely important. That's like basic review optimization. And one of the things that we'll do, which is it's a little unorthodox, I will say, but it works incredibly well, is if you're in a market where you have a 500 review, 1,000 review, and a 600 review, all in those first three map listings, sometimes what we'll test is we'll take a keyword and we'll actually put it into your name on Google Business Profile. This is unorthodox and probably won't last forever, but we've had a lot of success doing this. And that Google Business Profile is probably the most valuable part of the internet for lawyers. The problem is if you're in a small market, right? If you're in Indianapolis and you rank there, you're going to get a ton of business from it. If you're in a tiny market, then you have to cast a much wider net. And obviously you can't rank you can't rank in the maps if you don't have a location there.
What's the biggest ranking factor that you see in like competitive legal map packs right now?
Yeah.
It's reviews.
Oh yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah,
Reviews.
yeah. I mean,
Like,
it's really the same in many industries.
yeah, it is. But once you hit that review threshold, if you can actually add keywords into your profile and it works really well. Like if you search Washington, D.C. car accident lawyer, you would see that I put in my family's law firm, I put D.C. car accident lawyer in there and we're number one in the maps. Now we have over 500 reviews too, but unorthodox, but it works really well.
What are SEO metrics that law firms obsess over that don't actually correlate with signed cases?
Traffic. Um, who cares? You can write an article about, like I said, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars, get a ton of traffic. Who cares? Traffic is going down, right? I mean, and I don't think it's going to generally speaking, I don't think traffic is going to go up as these AI systems. I mean, Google forever has wanted us to stay in Google and just call there, right? That's not really a surprise. They've always wanted that for a very long time. It's why LXAs in part exist, right? As opposed to pay per click. Um, and so for us, I care about one thing, right? I care about who's in the door, which is why we track everything, right? So we actually, for all of our clients, prepare a report that has, and we have call tracking numbers on the site. So we'll have, hey, here's every contact form that came in. Here's every call that came in. Here's every intake chatbot that came in. Let's go through this together. Tell me your case numbers. We do track, obviously, that those are different indicators. We still track how many calls you got from your Google business profile versus your website, how many impressions you got on search. We track it, we report it. At the end of the day, all that matters is business in the door. And as somebody who services law firms, I'll be the first to tell you that if you're not generating business from your clients, they're just going to leave. It's too competitive of a space. So,
When so we've been talking about this. When you're like measuring SEO success, like how are you doing it when a single case can be worth 6 or 7 figures? Because it like the range between keywords is so dramatic.
so let me just ask it back so I understand it. The question is basically, how do you measure success when one case can be high value, when one case can make a
It
whole
can be
year?
so yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it starts with an understanding of what is valuable to the firm, right? So if the firm is higher volume and you're only getting them one case a year, regardless of the size of the case, it doesn't make sense, right? For them, if they're a higher volume firm. If the firm is a 2 to 3 case a month firm and all they care about is like qualifying and making sure we get good stuff, then that is what success looks like to them. At the end of the day, it's about conversations with success, the conversations about what success looks like to somebody. Where are you now? What are your goals? And that's just the PI space. If you're talking about like an estate planning lawyer, right? What's really good is you can track. This is another piece to talk about. Like a personal injury lawyer, they may not see the fee on that case you generated for them for 9 months to 9 years, depending on the case. If you take an estate planning lawyer, for example, you can really easily sit down and say, okay, great. Like these 25 calls came in, you converted 20% of them, right? You got 5 new clients, your average fee is $7,000. Okay, great. You generated $35,000 in revenue this month. This is the ROI of our activities. We're hyper ROI focused. We typically, try to stay within the ROI lane as opposed to saying, hey, your traffic went up. And we report on all this, of course, but that's how we like to stay in that lane.
I have a personal question. I'm
Yes.
interested why you like doing SEO for legal so much.
Okay. So I come from a huge family of lawyers. Um, my mom is a lawyer. My dad is a lawyer. They have a law firm together. My uncle is a lawyer. He was one of Matador's first co-op members or clients. My brother is a lawyer. He's a clerk and lives in Michigan and does that, really academic. Not the Y Combinator brother, the other one. And
Yeah.
I have a cousin who's a lawyer. I have 3 cousins in law school. And when I was 8 years old, I wrote this thing that my mom found and I'm a lawyer, right? So, and it just said, lawyers help people. And this is something that I wrote in 3rd grade. And I can remember my dad coming in and showing me pictures of a woman he was helping who had been basically like dragged by a bus wrongfully and her skin was destroyed and she was preparing for trial. And I was so young and looking at this. And I think it's just so important because lawyers either can get a bad rap, but they help a lot of people. And in my case, right, we're not working with gigantic firms that spend $1 million a month in advertising. We're working with 1 to 15 lawyer firms. Every single firm has my cell phone. I know them personally. And so when you talk to somebody, and we have 5 account managers and all that sort of stuff. But when you talk to somebody and they tell you like what we've done for their business, it's just the best feeling in the world. And I love lawyers because lawyers are, they help people, they help the world, and there's a lot of good ones out there.
You were made for this.
Yeah. Yeah. And typically the other thing is they don't understand a lot of this stuff. And so if you can be like, lawyers have been ripped off for so long in marketing. They've been ripped off because everyone thinks, lawyers make so much money, I'm going to go, do that. And so when I can come in and sort of say, look, this stuff is not rocket science. I'm going to explain it to you so you can have a little bit of education. You're not going to have to do any work really, but I want to explain it to you. And here's why it is. And you can demystify it. It's just, there's a lot of personal joy in it.
What are things in legal SEO that other agencies overcharge for?
Content. I think people, because I've seen a lot of other SEO agency contracts that are, 2 to 3 times the prices as us. And some of them are really good vendors. There's a massive amount of really bad vendors in legal marketing. There's certain people in the space who have built their own sort of like custom lead tracking softwares that they'll charge $1,000 a month for or something, but it's really just a white labeled third party software. And they'll charge for that. Google Business Profile Management, people will charge thousands of dollars a month for, and I just don't think it's that much work to have a good Google Business Profile. Those are all things that I've seen be, impactful, or
Yeah.
be things that people just overcharge for.
Yeah. What's the biggest like levers, I guess, in legal SEO? Like if you had to pick one SEO lever to focus on, for a law firm that had limited resources, what would it be and why? There we go.
Okay, so if you think about SEO as like a bucket of categories, right? You'll have your content bucket, and then you'll have your on-page / technical bucket, and then you'll have your off-page bucket. So let me just rule all these out. You really can't do anything without content. You can't. So that's the bucket to focus on. It's also the easiest, in my opinion, if you can. It's not the easiest. Let me say that differently. It's the easiest to wrap your head around. And so if a law firm was starting today, I would tell them, and they didn't want to hire an agency, I would just say, all you got to do, think about everything you do and everywhere you do it. Just think about that and go build a page for those and put them on your site and let them hang out for a while, right? You can't do one and expect to rank. Obviously, you can't have just content, it won't rank. You can't have just a really fast site, it won't rank. And you can't have just backlinks, it won't rank. But if someone's like starting their own firm, just think about what you do and where you do it and write about it.
Just blog about it.
Yeah, just write.
Yeah.
And doesn't mean you'll rank, but it means you're going to start to build something on the internet. Someone will see it. And then when you're ready in 12 months to go hire an agency, call me and we'll help. But yeah. But really, the number one thing you can do is, if you wanted to start today getting business on the internet, it has nothing to do with SEO. You have to go get reviews and spend all your energy on reviews.
What's the most interesting SEO win you've had for a law firm, and what actually caused it?
I think I'd like to talk about two. The first is this New Orleans car accident lawyer thing, because I was like, you know what? Like, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm just going to try it, right? And I'm going to try just writing it and changing the title tag. And then we'll just see. If it fails, I'm no worse off, right? Because she was in position 10 anyway. Who cares? And if it doesn't work, then if it works, fantastic. If it doesn't work, whatever. No one is clicking on position 10 regardless. And she had a map listing already. We already had her in the top 3 for New Orleans car accident lawyer. So it was a low risk, right? That was just so exciting to see. Like, it gives me a lot of fire to see that, because in my role right now, I'm not in the day to day of like SEO as much, right? As I'm managing a lot of the testing, but I'm not like placing links or doing that kind of stuff. And so that gave me a ton of fire. And then the other thing that has been so impactful was when I sort of started playing around with testing out keyword placement in Google Business Profiles, because it's sort of I'm going to use the word unorthodox. And when I was like, I'm just going to try it and we'll see if it works. And things just exploded when we did this. And great, why not? Um, so those are the two biggest wins that I've seen that just really give me energy.
Putting the keywords in Google Business Profile. And are you changing them frequently? Or like, oh, we want to focus on something else?
So what we'll do now, it's evolved. Like let's say we just had a client. I'm going to give a great example. Like we had a client in Tampa who does criminal defense, and he rankings were good, map listings were not working, and he is going basically changing the firm name regardless. And when we started putting the title, the name, having Tampa Criminal Defense in his Google business profile, it started to rank, right? The map listing started to rank, but he was changing his name anyway. And so we said, look, just go file a DBA with this in your name anyway, so we can have it everywhere. And so that's something that you'll see a lot in this space is you'll actually see law firms file a DBA. So they may be, Sturm LLP, but now they're Sturm but now they're Sturm LLP doing business as Sturm Criminal Defense Lawyers.
Yeah, that's cool. What advice would you give SEOs who want to specialize in law firm SEO, but they don't understand the legal industry yet?
Spend time understanding law. You don't need to spend a lot of time, but research the ethics. Message me. I'll show you all the ethics things that you have to do. That's the first thing, is because you can get in a lot of trouble quickly with it, and you can put your clients in a lot of trouble. So if you don't protect your client, you expose them and you expose yourself. That's the number one thing I would do. And the number two thing I would do is develop a deep understanding of what keywords drive business and what does not. And so you have to understand that search volume only tells part of the story, right? Because you may, lawyer, for example, with no practice area may generate a ton of search volume, but the quality is terrible. Just lawyer near me, right? You don't want that traffic if you're an estate planning lawyer. But if you're a car accident lawyer, then you want to know what generates the most cases. And so understand the ethics rules and understand what actually impacts people's businesses. Those two things will help you go a long way.
Yeah, understanding search intent. I mean, that's the case for like many SEOs. They don't think about search intent. Some just don't think about it at all, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares if you're ranking for something that doesn't generate anything? It's just literally who cares?
Yeah. All right, we're gonna finish with a lightning round. 7-question lightning round.
Okay.
All right. So we got 7 questions here. Here we go. Number 1 is best practice area pages, short or long? But I mean, you answered this one already.
Long.
Yeah, long. Yeah. Okay. Blogs versus FAQs.
They're the same to me.
Exact match domains, dead or still viable?
Still viable.
Okay. Reviews.
You see it
Go on.
Can I respond to that? There are.
Yeah, please.
They shouldn't be viable. There's a ton of examples where they are. Tons.
But now I gotta ask: is it they're viable because the EMD like main page, the homepage, is just optimized perfectly for the keyword, or is it viable because the keyword is in the root domain?
I'm not sure. I will tell you, and I'll send these to you. There's a lot of weak sites that rank on page 1 for one exact match keyword.
Reviews, quantity or velocity?
Velocity is more important than quantity, and having consistency is more important than just dumping 20 at one time.
Aggressive links or conservative growth?
Conservative growth with targeted aggressive links when you really need a push on a specific page.
Right. Compliance risk or ranking upside?
Compliance.
Yeah. And last one is brand signals or raw authority?
What does raw authority mean to you?
To me, it means more general domain authority, whereas brand signals to me means more topical authority.
Brand signals. You give me a site with fantastic brand signals, I can make the domain pop.
Yeah. 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 Nick, this has been so awesome. For so long, I've been wanting to do like just a master class ultimate legal SEO episode, and that's what this was. And I mean, you said you're not that in the weeds, but I can tell that you're in the weeds. Like it seems like you're very in the weeds.
I'm going to an SEO testing meeting right after this. So, which is our, 2 or 3 times a week, we're running through every test we're running, and I run that. And I'm not as in the put the link here type of stuff, but a lot of the strategic, I'm in there in the testing.
So where should everybody go and find you and follow you? And we have Matador. Can you say the URL for that again? And by the way, all of these links will be in the description for the show.
Yeah. Go to matadorsolutions.net, Matador solutions.net. My email is Nick, Nick, at matadorsolutions.net. Find me there. I post a lot on LinkedIn on what's going on in the space. So any of those places are great.
Well, thank you again for coming on. All right. For everybody who watched this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. If you listened on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank you so much for listening. This is episode 931 of The Edward Show, 931 days in a row without missing a single day, trying to make our way towards 1,000. And I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.